abandoned and left for dead, until the human revived her with a kiss. Beginning. The world of the Laura was a graveyard of glass and silence. Once, it had been a shining jewel of the Vega Star sector, a hub of trade, art, and diplomacy. Now, the planet lay hollow, bombarded during the Fourth Interstellar War. Skies were smeared with chemical clouds, oceans black with oil, and the cities broken husks of steel and bone. Captain Elias Korik never imagined he would set foot on the Laura again. He had fought here once. 20 years ago, a young infantryman terrified beneath the whine of alien artillery. But fate had drawn him back. Not as a soldier this time, but as a salvager, eking out a living scouring war zones for forgotten tech. His small shuttle creaked as it descended onto the shattered plains. Dust swirled as the landing struts touched ground. Elias adjusted the filtration mask on his face, muttering, "One more haul, one more payday." Inside the ruins of an old bunker, he expected to find nothing but rusted weapons and burnout generators. But then, in a shadowed corner of the collapsed command center, something caught his eye. A pod. Sleek, alien. Faintly glowing with residual energy. "Now, what do we have here?" Elias whispered, brushing away debris. The pod hissed faintly as if sensing his presence. Its glass canopy was cracked, and through it he saw her. A woman, or something close. Her skin was pale silver, traced with faint bioluminescent veins. She was armored, but her chest plate was shattered, revealing wounds that leaked a faintly shimmering fluid. Her long hair floated inside the pod's weak stasis field, strands shifting like silk in water. "Alive?" Elias muttered, leaning closer. He could barely hear at first. The faintest whisper of breath. A warrior. A survivor. An alien. Someone had abandoned her here to die. And against all logic, Elias felt his chest tighten. Middle. Elias dragged the pod back to his shuttle. It took all his strength and several hours of work. Once inside, he connected power lines, forcing life back into the cracked stasis system. But the machine was failing. The readouts flashed red warnings in a language he didn't understand. She wouldn't last long. Elias knelt beside her, studying her face. She was beautiful in an otherworldly way. Her features sharp yet graceful, her eyelids fluttering as if she fought unseen battles even in unconsciousness. "Who are you?" Elias whispered. He worked feverishly, sealing wounds with med-gel, running the ship's scanners. The AI confirmed what he feared. Her body chemistry was unlike anything standard medicine could heal. She needed a regenerative spark, something to restart her failing neural systems. And that's when the old stories came back to him. During the war, soldiers whispered rumors of Thalerans, an advanced alien race who could share life force through breath and contact. A ritual both sacred and rare, dismissed by most as myth. They said it could heal the dying, revive the broken, but it required deep connection, soul to soul. Elias sat back, trembling. A kiss? That can't be real. But as the pod's alarms grew louder and her breath grew fainter, he made a choice. He removed his mask, leaned closer, pressed his lips against hers. For a heartbeat, nothing. Then a surge of warmth shot through him, as if a hidden sun had ignited in his chest. His vision blurred with light. He gasped, feeling something flow out of him and into her, a pulse of life, raw and unfiltered. Her body arched within the pod. The cracks in her skin glow-sealed, faint light spreading through her veins. Her chest rose sharply as breath filled her lungs. Her eyes snapped open, brilliant, silver, like twin stars burning. Elias stumbled back, gasping. She turned her head slowly, focusing on him. Her voice was faint, musical even in its weakness. "Human, why?" He blinked. Stunned, she spoke his tongue. Because you were dying." She studied him with unreadable eyes. Then, to his shock, she whispered, "You gave me part yourself." Elias had no words. For the next days, she recovered slowly aboard his shuttle. He learned her name, Salira Vane, a commander in the Thalaran Vanguard. She told him how, during the war, she had been betrayed by her own generals, left behind in a desperate retreat. For 20 years, her broken pod had barely kept her alive. "You should have let me die," she said once, staring at the ruins below. "And leave you in that grave?" Elias shook his head. "Not my style." Salira tilted her head, studying him. Humans, always reckless with their hearts. They grew uneasy companionship. She was fierce, proud, carrying centuries of sorrow. He was worn, scarred by battles long past. Yet something tethered them now, the strange bond forged by his desperate kiss. At night, Elias would catch her watching him, her silver eyes softened by something unspoken. He tried to ignore how his own chest tightened every time she stood close, her presence warming the cold ship. But peace never lasted long in a galaxy still fractured by war. On the fourth day, orbit sensors blared. A fleet entered the Laura's skies. Thalaran warships, marked with the same sigil Solyra once bore. She stiffened at the sight. They returned. Elias frowned. Your people? Her voice was bitter. My executioners. They cannot know I survived. But it was too late. The fleet had scanned the surface. His small shuttle was no hiding place. Within hours, soldiers descended, armored, armed, efficient. They surrounded the crash-scorched plains where Elias' ship rested. Elias gripped his rifle, heart pounding. He had fought too many battles in his youth. He didn't want another, but as the soldiers raised weapons, Solyra stepped forward, her aura flaring. She was still weak, but her presence carried authority. You would dare finish what your betrayal began, she thundered in her native tongue. The soldiers faltered, but then, from a flagship, a tall figure emerged, an admiral draped in obsidian armor. Commander Vane, he sneered. I see rumors of your death were premature. Solyra's voice cut like steel. You left me to die, Varric. It was necessity, the admiral replied coldly. You were compromised, wounded beyond salvation. The war demanded sacrifice. His gaze slid to Elias. And now you conspire with vermin? Elias bristled. Watch your mouth. The admiral smiled cruelly. How fitting. A great warrior brought low, clinging to a human. Solyra's fists clenched, but Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. Don't waste your strength. We'll find a way. For the first time, she looked at him not as an alien, not as a commander, but as something else. As the fleet closed in, Elias realized there was only one way out. He couldn't outfight them, couldn't outrun them. But maybe, just maybe, the bond between them was more powerful than either understood. Ending. That night, inside the shuttle, Solyra told him the truth. The kiss, it was not just healing. You linked us. Part of your essence now flows in me, and mine in you. Together we're stronger, but only if we embrace it fully. Elias swallowed hard. And if we don't, they will kill us both. The choice was simple. When the Thalaran fleet descended at dawn, they were ready. Elias stood beside Solyra on the barren plains, their hands clasped. Energy pulsed between them, radiant threads of silver and gold. The soldiers opened fire. Bolts of plasma scorched the air. But the energy between Elias and Solyra flared, forming a shimmering shield. Bullets dissolved against it like raindrops on glass. Elias felt her strength pour into him. Speed, clarity, fire. Together, they moved as one. He fired his rifle with impossible precision. She struck with energy waves that cracked tanks in half. The battlefield became a storm of light and fury. The admiral watched, rage twisting his face. Abomination, he roared, drawing a blade of pure plasma. He charged. Solyra met him head on, Elias at her side. Their combined strike shattered his weapon, ripped through his armor, and sent him sprawling in the dust. The soldiers froze, leaderless. Solyra's voice carried across the plain. Hear me. I am Commander Solyra Vane of the Vanguard. You betrayed me once. But I stand reborn, not because of you, but because of him. This human showed more honor than your empire ever did. Silence. Then, slowly weapons lowered. The soldiers, bound by loyalty and awe, bowed their heads. The warships retreated. The battle was over. Days later, aboard the shuttle, Elias stood at the viewport, watching Talora's broken horizon. So, what now? You reclaim your throne? Led your people again? Solyra stepped beside him, her gaze steady. Perhaps, but not alone. He turned, meeting her silver eyes. I was abandoned and left for dead, she whispered. But you revived me, with a kiss with your soul. Wherever you go, Elias Cork, I will follow. And for the first time in years, Elias allowed himself to smile. Not just a salvager anymore, not just a soldier of forgotten wars, but the man who brought a legend back to life. And together, they would write a new story, not of war and betrayal, but of unity, born from a kiss on a dying world.